Hey, what's going on? On today's show, we are going to talk about who is the most dangerous on the mat. Let's get started. Alright, so, who is the most dangerous on the mat? I think you could look at a black belt and be like, they're the most dangerous. You could say a brown belt is, a purple belt. And there's probably a lot of different perspectives on that question. So I'm just curious, like, what do you guys think? Who do you think is most dangerous on the mat? Do you think it's the higher rank, or is there someone else that you think is the most dangerous on the mat?
The first thing I thought of is for myself, like a new
With
white
you?
belt.
No, you are the most dangerous.
For myself, I thought of it as a new white belt because you just have to be much more cautious of what they're going to do because they're not going to give you the typical jiu-jitsu feed. So I think for like your own safety and protecting your own physical body, I think white belts can be dangerous for like accidental injuries. Obviously, they're not going to be setting up some sick move to catch you with.
Yeah.
But I do think I always have like an extra layer of alertness if I'm rolling with somebody who's new and I don't exactly know what they're going to do.
You don't even know what they've been watching on
Yeah,
YouTube.
you don't know what they just learned, some rolling, flying arm bar that they're going to try on you,
It's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I was a white belt, I attempted some random technique that I saw Jiu Jitsu do. And I was like, I'm going to try that. And I got it to work, but it was just a sweep, And like you're saying, who knows what white belt's attempting a heel hook or just some random choke or something that they really don't understand. And then you're right. They definitely could be the most dangerous on the mat and hurt somebody. So
I thought it was the guy who was like coming in here with something like a goal in mind. You know what I mean? Like if somebody comes in here with the goal at Kimura, you just get locked in. You know what I mean? If you don't keep up with them, as far as how fast they're moving, they might catch you if something bad.
good point. So the one that comes in with the goal.
Yeah, becomes prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Carlos. I think the guy that comes in, I mean, I think it doesn't tie to just one belt color. We tend to think of a white belt or whatever because they're spastic or they don't have a plan, so they're going to come in and throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. Or the black belt who has all the techniques, and to kind of speak to Carlos's point, it's the guy that's coming in with an agenda that really worries me. The guy who's emotional, or the guy who's not really thinking very clearly, and he's just trying to win. You know, I'm just in here to win. I'm going to take whoever goes out with me. I don't care. So those guys make me nervous, and you can't really spot them right away. It's just you could tell when they grab a hold of you. It's like, oh, this guy's on a mission.
Yeah.
He's
here to do something.
Yeah, he's here to do something. And so but I think I approach every belt color like what you're saying, like a little added, nervousness or anxiety, and I got to be very, very careful. Unless it's somebody that we've rolled with plenty of times in life. Then there's trust built up. If you don't know what anybody's really going through when they walk in here, we had one guy make a comment on our Facebook group for the school, saying, hey, I'm having a rough time, and I'm really upset, so I'm going to be coming in hot today. And luckily, one of the professors was like, hey, that's not the place to do that. He kind of gave some course correction and was like, let's get together beforehand, let's talk. Because you don't want that, for the school or for yourself, really. Because if you've got some skill and you start getting emotional with it, like, no, I'm coming in here, I'm putting it to Alex, for whatever reason. I may do something kind of dumb and hurt myself trying to
force something.
Yeah, trying to force something. And so I think the person that's the most dangerous is probably the person that's going to be the most emotional, and that can go from white belt to all the way to black belt, and even
from the excited to the one that's angry.
Yeah.
And then even just thinking, I mean, when you think of dangerous, you think of someone actually causing the injury, but it could be someone who won't even tap to a submission, and that's dangerous because then they're going to get themselves hurt. And I can tell you right now, I don't think any of us and people that we train with want to just hurt someone. So you're just dangerous because you don't want to your pride keeps you from just submitting to the fact that you're caught.
Yeah.
And so that's dangerous for you. And I don't want to roll with somebody that just won't ever tap, because then when you move on, there's no real engagement. It's not even really fun in that moment, because I'm having to keep you safe because you're a danger to yourself right now. And someone one day may catch you because you don't want to tap, and they may not care. And they may go just a little bit harder in that moment, and you know, snap-a-roo may take place.
And it takes a lot of awareness to know that you have a submission and you're not finishing it because they're not taking care of their body, they're not willing to tap. Some people might just know this submission, but they don't know it well enough to know that they're compromised, and they're going to send it, and if you're not ready to tap or willing to tap, you're kind of a danger to everybody. Danger to your physical self, and then just like the emotional state of whoever breaks your shoulder on accident because you don't tap.
Now I do. When I first started, when I would get on the mat, I would look at the purple belts and be like, dude, those guys, they're like the assassins. And so I do, in regards to belt ranking and stuff, I would look at purple belts and think they were the most dangerous on the mat. When I would look at it from a jiu-jitsu standpoint, not from if someone was emotionally struggling that day, or if someone was angry, or them not taking care of their own self or their other partners on the mat. But walking on the mat, I would go, purple belts are dangerous. Now brown belt and black belt are above that, but for some reason when I would see purple belts, I would think assassin, because you never know what they're going to do. There was this one guy's name was Derek, and I'd been training. I was doing backyard jiu-jitsu, and so when I started here, it was like my first or second class. I had this mentality that I knew something, but I really knew nothing. And he tied me up like a pretzel. And I'm not kidding. He's the size of I'm trying to think of, I can almost compare him just a little bit bigger than Daniel.
Yeah.
And this guy was a purple belt in chess. And what's so funny, as he's tying me up, he's smiling. He's like smiling as he's tying me up in a pretzel in like this cradle formation, and he's literally holding me like a baby tied up, and I'm squashed in there, and he's just smiling, and I'm tapping, really being cradled in his arms. So yeah, I do think also that there are belt ranks that are the most dangerous on the mat. And the way that I view even, so because I think like brown belts are real quiet. And I'm like, dude, they're like the sniper. Like they sit back and they just kind of wait. And then they kind of just come in and they snag people, So
I heard somebody say that at purple belt, you have not no expectations, but like a low expectation on you, because you're chasing those black belts and the brown belts, but you're above those blue belts and white belts, so you're being chased. And so, if you get caught by a lower belt, well, it's kind of expected, because they're chasing you. You got a target on your back, and then you can get creative enough to try to go after a brown belt or a black belt and kind of go hard with that. And if you catch them by circumstance, like, okay, well, that's understandable, you're a purple belt. So you're kind of in that weird little ether area of learning things, and so you can get kind of creative. I heard somebody say at purples, when you're trying to really start developing your own game. And so I think that's kind of where, to speak to your point, you feel like, well, you don't know what you're going to get from a purple belt. So.
Agreed.
Well, I don't think anybody else has anything else to say, but are you the most dangerous on the mat? Are you someone that comes onto the mat and are you wanting to hurt people? Or are you not taking care of yourself? Or do people look at you and go, man, when that dude shows up, man, I don't even want to be here, So what are your thoughts on who's the most dangerous on the mat? We'd like to hear it in the comments. All right, till next time. I don't know if it's all